Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I am Bryan, or you can call me That Matcha Guy. I'm an entrepreneur and as well as a digital marketer, and I run a digital advertising agency called Method B, serving clients in multiple industries. In my career, I've also managed millions of dollars in advertising spend. Now this channel is the go-to place for aspiring entrepreneurs or for just about anyone who is looking to start their own business. This is where I will share my journey of how I left my 9-to-5 job to become an entrepreneur, what are the business lessons that I learned, and as well as the tips and secrets of running successful digital advertising campaigns. Now in this video, you will learn the top 10 lessons I learned as an entrepreneur after I left my 9-to-5 job 1.5 years ago, and how these lessons have helped me earn multi-six-figure profits in just a single year.
What?
If you want to learn the mindset required of an entrepreneur and what it takes to create a steady stream of income, then this video is perfect for you. Now do stay till the end of the video, as the final tip in this video is one of the main reasons why 90% of my client base are referrals. Tip number 1. I learned that it's hard. It's really hard. Why? The learning curve is extremely high in the beginning. First week of me starting Method B, I spent 14 hours per day learning about how to set up a business, the admin stuff, finding an accountant, setting a salary structure for myself, and the list just goes on. It was a literal fight or flight for me. I have to do everything by myself. No systems, no structures, nothing. There's not much guidance as well. And it was also a time when I quit my full-time job, essentially losing my stable income as well. And that's just the beginning part of it. Soon after, I got the hang of it and got the base structure up. I've also gotten a few clients on board and started running Method B proper. Still, it is a really lonely journey being a solopreneur, as you can literally have no colleagues, and with the fear of inconsistent earnings as well, I work really hard to ensure that there's more than enough each month so that I can tide through the long months. So you end up working longer hours. Going solo is really important in the beginning, especially when your financial runway is limited and you're more conservative like me. And this is so that you can generate greater profitability in the beginning and then reinvest those back into the business to hire and to scale later. And as you can probably tell by now, it's really easy to be overworked, especially from the initial phases and when the sky's the limit to how much revenue that you can earn. So moving on to the next tip. Tip number 2. Your reputation and connections are everything. Now in business, your reputation and connections are really important. This is especially so when you're running a service-based type of business, as having a good reputation essentially means more referrals and a stronger pipeline of clients. Now as a solopreneur, especially when you are just starting out, building out a good reputation simply means having 1. Strong work ethics. 2. Providing a lot of value, which includes over-delivering. And 3. Being honest and completely no bullshit. And 4. More importantly, saying no to things that seem shady or not proper in business. Next is having business connections.
I'll tell you a secret. Sometimes I get a little quiet when I meet lots of new kids.
I am an introvert. I dislike meetings. I dislike being in huge crowds that leads to nothing but small talk. And I don't go around socializing like a social butterfly. But building business connections is essential. Thanks to the current climate that we're living in, building business connections no longer mean having to attend huge events, handshakes, or meetups. More people are embracing connecting through technology like video calls, phone calls, Zoom, or whatever, remotely, and establishing these connections through social media like Instagram and etc. as well. I can't remember how many clients and business opportunities I got simply through calls and social media, and even from people that I've never even met once in my life, face to face. So go on, build an online presence, be consistent in your branding, and start building connection. The more you do, the more seeds of opportunities you're planting for the future. Now the next lesson I have for you is work hours don't matter, work output does. Now as you run your own business, you will soon realize that unlike a corporate job, you're not just clocking in the hours. You're no longer being paid by the amount of fixed hours that you put in, but 100% based on the amount of value that you create in your work. Therefore, working hours no longer matter, and all that matters is the value that you create. This can mean one of two things. With work hours out of the way now, you can be working way less hours, but generating a similar amount of output that you would in your typical day job, without the unnecessary meetings, politics, presentations, and so forth. Now, this can also mean that since work hours no longer matter and only work output does, you can end up working even more hours per day, trying to maximize the amount of value that you can create each day. So, depending on how you see it, running a business allows you such a flexibility. Now, in my case, since every hour I put in is focused on creating value, and therefore revenue for Method B, I am now working way longer hours and more focused as I did before in my previous day job. Now this is because I know that for every hour of work that I put in, it will be worth a certain amount of dollars to it. And the more I work, the more profits I get each month as well. I know it's not ideal because I am literally trading time for money, but that's another video for another time. Right now, it's just important to know that work output is the only thing that matters, and the hours you put in is now just a product of it. Now, going on to the next point. Be ahead of the curve. You've probably heard this so many times by now that especially with IT and anything digital, you need to constantly keep up with the latest updates. The digital advertising strategies that you learned previously might no longer be relevant, and you will have to adapt those strategies as we go. Now, one prime example is that at the time of this video, we are now facing a new era of digital advertising through the introduction of iOS 14, and along with it, better privacy options for consumers as well. But what does it mean for advertisers like us, or agency owners like us? This just means that for people like us who have been using these data points to run retargeting campaigns and using machine learning to scale our campaigns for our clients, it is definitely going to be tougher for advertisers and agencies. At least 50% of the strategies that I've been using for most of my clients on Facebook and Instagram are likely going to be changed from this new update. Now, notwithstanding the industry-wide changes like this, but each of the platforms like Google, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, and so on, constantly rolls out improvements and changes, and we all have to keep up to it. And not all of these changes are being announced as well, so you have to know. So you have to be running campaigns or really knee-deep into the digital marketing blogs. Will you really be up to date to such things? So for the future battles between user privacy and digital advertising targeting, you can expect more turbulent changes to come. So what I want to say is that always be in the game. The things are always changing in our field, so stay up to date. Tip number 5, self-care is underrated. This is really, really important, guys. As freelancers, solopreneurs, or entrepreneurs, we tend to overwork ourselves. At least in the first few years when we are stabilizing our monthly revenue, doing everything by ourselves and getting a grasp of things. This is also when each hour of your time is worth a certain amount of dollars. And when you're just focusing on earning as much as you can currently or building your wealth, this can spell disaster for your personal well-being. Now, self-care is super underrated these days. With all the hype about hustles, 5 a.m. CEO club, 6-figure earners, 7-figure earners, 60-hour work weeks, and celebrating wins, too much of a good thing can sometimes become toxic for us. Now, when we do this, we can easily neglect our mental health, our physical health, and as well as our relationship with our loved ones. Many times, as I was burning through my nights and weekends, I'll ask myself, is this really what I want to do? So what when I achieve like X amount of revenue this month? What does all these numbers mean to me? What's my ultimate goal of running a business? That's when I realized that sometimes when we are too in the game, we can easily lose track of what truly matters. Even as I'm running Method B and I'm a dad to a cute 5-month-old son, or what you would call a dadpreneur, I make sure that I sleep at least 8 hours a day. Now, this differs for everyone, but I realized that getting more sleep allows me to perform at the top of my game each day. And as my friend told me, who's a CEO from an F&B company, I need to be at the top form each day. And I don't really want to leave it to chance when I close my clients or talk to my clients. Also, I start my days at about 10:30 a.m. So I'm not a 5 a.m. club CEO and I do not find the need to just follow the hype. Yes, I'm trying to start my days earlier and get more done so I can free up my nights, but what I'm trying to say is that even when you don't follow the hype, and as long as you know what you're doing, you will do just okay. Now remember to eat well, exercise, sleep well, have dedicated me time, and it's only when you take care of yourself, who is the true driving force behind your business, can your business actually flourish. Tip number 6, collaborate, not compete. It's normal that as you run your own business and when you see another company in the same industry as you will term them as your competitor. But the mindset that not many business owners have is that even between companies in the same industry, you can still collaborate and work on projects together. Say in my industry, I run a pure digital advertising agency. No videography, no copywriting, no creative production whatsoever. And what I do is that I often partner with these digital marketing agencies and form power teams with them to offer a more holistic solution to our clients. Now, for example, our client needs FB and IG advertising, as well as production of both image and video creatives for these creatives, for those advertisements, and as well as social media account management. So what I will do is that I will take up the FB and IG advertising side of work and let the other agency do the rest. Now, as you can see, it's now synergistic instead of competitive. Of course, I'm not saying that you must be collaborating with every company in the same industry as you are. There has to be many factors that align before this can happen. So number 1, values. Number 2, work ethics. Number 3, the chemistry. And number 4, are these the type of clients that they're looking out for? But you get the drift. There is no need to compete. And in fact, there is more than enough room to collaborate and complement each other than to compete. Those who are in the agency business will know that one of the serious bottlenecks is work fulfillment and scalability. There's more than enough business in your market or overseas, so we don't really have to compete, much less in a toxic manner. And the next tip that I have for you is ethics and honesty is king. I remember telling a few of my friends that one of the reasons why my clients retain well, and that about 90% of my clients come from referral is that for business owners, sometimes all they're looking out for is just someone that they can really trust to do the work for them. That's it. That's all. As simple as that sounds, it's really hard to come across a company or someone who is extremely reliable, doesn't drop balls, knows his or her stuff really well, is honest and trustworthy. Now, strong work ethics and honesty is king in business. Okay, it is scarce, and it can even be a unique selling point. It is to that extent. The thing I find really interesting is that in many of the business meetings that I go to meet a new client for the first time, even when it is just the first meeting, they are able to somehow assess and gauge what kind of person you are in terms of business. I had scenarios where they will ask questions or present situations that would be a way to assess your work ethics and character. And my closing rates are rather high at about 80%. And I will find amusing sometimes how and why this happened. What did I do right? And then it dawned upon me that as a business owner, and as a fresh one at that, in the beginning at least, I can be honest and I will often present my sincere self when I speak to my clients. This means pure facts, no bullshit, just direct strategies of how to grow their business, and I will be straight with my clients when the expectations are unrealistic or when something cannot be done. I was scared initially when I did this, and I sometimes couldn't help but to do it because it's who I really am, but it actually turned out to work really, really well. So what I want to say is that just by being authentic, sincere and honest, of course, you have to know your stuff as well. This has helped me close my clients. And to keep your clients, you just have to keep providing value, take full ownership, and just get shit done. Tip number 8, create systems. Now, this one is really one of the hardest things for me right now, and I have to admit I failed really, really bad at this. But whether or not I do well, it is important for me to list this out so that you can be aware of it as well. Currently at Method B, while I have 2 hires, the business is entirely hinging on me as the face of the company. I do everything at the company from accounting to invoicing, payments, reporting, client meetings, and you know what? This is bad, really, really bad. This means that I do not have the capacity to take on more clients. I also do not have the ability to focus my time on tasks that creates more value than the work that I am currently doing. I also cannot branch out, for example, a training arm for Method B, or create the ultimate digital advertising course as I've always wanted to do for a long time. I'm basically stuck. There are many opportunities that I could have been pursuing or that could have generated more value for myself and the company, but I just could not pursue them just because I'm tied down working in the business. And you've probably heard this many times, and I've recently heard this from a friend as well, and I'm going to say it again. When you work in your business, you're just a business operator. You're no different from an overworked employee. So in this case, I am an overworked employee. But when you are starting to work on your business and the business can run day to day without you, then you are a business owner. So in this case, I am still a business operator and an overworked employee. And this is just something that I'm trying to take the time to work on. I know I'm here talking like I'm some kind of expert in so many different areas in everything, but I'm no saint. And this is something that I must really work hard on. So now going on, tip number 9, learn and share. This applies really well, especially when you're running a business that can help from a strong personal branding. Or heck, it can even work for your full-time career as well. So ask yourself this question. How many times have you learned something really, really cool and interesting about your industry that's not confidential, of course, and after learning that, you just kept it to yourself and go on with your day? Well, most of the time, right? So it was like that for me for a good number of years as well, until one day I started sharing what I know, and then I realized that my business circle actually remembers the things that I share, and they find them interesting, and some even told me about it, even like after a few months later. So I continued doing so, sharing the things that I learned, and eventually more doors and opportunities started to open as well, like for example, doing 2 talks in 2 local universities in Singapore last year. Now, these opportunities would not have opened or been there should I not actively share what I know. And remember, this is really important, never underestimate your knowledge. Those things that you learn about may sometimes seem really common sense to you or simple to you, but remember, most people around you aren't in the same field as you are. And so what is simple or intuitive to you may be really interesting and insightful to your followers and your circle. So finally, tip number 10, be willing to be on the losing end. Okay, for those of you who have stayed till this part of the video, congratulations! This is the coolest thing that I've heard in recent years and something that I did unknowingly for a long while. I first learned this from my wife, who told me that in business, it is more important to be in business for the long term and to work with a client for a longer period of time than it is to be calculative and demand or deliver exactly what is expected. The key here is not to only over-deliver, nor is it to provide so much value that they can't ignore, as what many people have been talking about, but it's also about being willing to be on the losing end. This basically means that even at times when you're asked to reduce your fees, be it due to dire business situations like last year, or to work on small side projects that you weren't paid for or signed up for, or to deliver something that is faster than the SLA, just do it. Of course, you may be saying like, what happens when my business is being exploited by my clients or customers? Yes, I hear you. This is when you must exercise discretion, use your gut feeling when interacting with your clients or customers to try to understand and learn. Are those people out there trying to abuse your services or kindness? Most of the time, they just wish to have something that fit their exact needs and wouldn't mind paying you for your services. Because even as we run a business for profit, we must understand from our customers' point of view as well. Like, should this deal or business really not make sense to them, then why would they want to work with you, right? So of course, it has to make sense for you as well. And so long it doesn't cross the lower limit of what you can work with, I believe we can be on the losing end just a little bit and offer that much flexibility to our clients. So I've done this time and again as well, and it has worked very well for me. And at the same time, I also ensured strong work ethics and continue to over-deliver. Now, doing this will allow you to over-deliver better, create better customer satisfaction, and to get better retention for your business also. And this is the main reason why 90% of my client base come from referrals, from 1 degree referrals to 3 degrees of referrals, and single clients signing multiple contracts with Method B. Now, at this point of the video, you would have learned the mindset required of an entrepreneur and a number of business tips that can help shorten that daunting entrepreneurship learning curve. Now, let me know which of these 10 tips you find the most useful and which has worked best for you. Stay zen, keep grinding. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.